Okay, so it's 12 o'clock straight up. Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining our Moving Forward session today. Again, I'm Stacy Bynes. I'm the Director of Membership and Marketing for the 5-star accredited Fort Bend Chamber of Commerce. So again, welcome. Thank you for joining. So I'll get started, as we always do, by introducing our speakers. Glenn Schmidt has been coaching business and organizational leaders both nationally and internationally for decades. He has taught graduate level courses on leadership and organizational development, and he created the Business Acceleration Process, which is a unique and proven process to help business owners grow their businesses while balancing their lives. Today, we are also joined by Keri Schmidt, our President and CEO of the Fort Bend Chamber of Commerce. And today's topic is the phased approach to reopening and how businesses can begin preparing now that the governor has made his announcement. So Glenn and Keri, thank you so much for this session, and we will turn it over to Glenn.
Well, thank you, Stacy, and thank you everyone for joining us. I see that King's with us, and King, I loved your the report you did yesterday for the ABC News. So congratulations on that. But we have some good news, and the good news is things are starting to open up. I wish they would go faster, as I'm sure everybody does, but at least we're moving in the right direction now, so that's encouraging. You may have noticed that on Thursday, the president issued his three-phase approach. Actually, this came from the CDC for opening businesses. And then on Friday, Governor Abbott took that and applied it basically to Texas and where we are. And the governor passed 3 executive orders, or pronounced 3 executive orders on Friday. One was he's creating a strike force, and you can look at the names of the people who are on his business opening strike force. It is really impressive. I mean, some of the top business leaders in the state of Texas are working with the governor. Some local people like Mattress Mac is on there, and Tillman Fertitta, and some folks from University of Houston, and some great business leaders and business thinkers. So I'm very excited about the task force, or the strike force, as he's calling it, that Governor Abbott has put together to help us plan and move forward with opening businesses and getting the economy rolling again here in the Texas and in our area. The second part of his executive order, or the second executive order, had to do with what he called a retail to go model, which is basically encouraging businesses, if you haven't already, start looking for ways to open up and do it within the guidelines of social distancing that the CDC has outlined. So basically what he's encouraging is for businesses to find ways to start opening up, even if you're a non-essential business. Now, I think the date he put on that was this Friday, the 24th. But this is the time to start thinking and planning about, how do I get my business back open? How do I do it safely for our employees and for our customers? So that's good news that he came out with. Part of that executive order, he also said he wanted schools to stay closed for the rest of this school year. So schools, both elementary, secondary, and higher education in Texas, are done for as far as being together. They're finishing up remotely their coursework and things for this school year, but they're not going to be meeting back together in this school year. And then the third executive order that Governor Abbott passed had to do more with hospitals and healthcare, just to ensure that at least 25% of the capacity of our healthcare system remains reserved and available for any COVID-related needs. And so that's real good news for the healthcare industry, because so much of the doctors and their revenue comes from elective surgeries and procedures and things like that. So it's all moving in the right direction. The governor's going to come back next Monday, a week from today, with more plans and more guidelines for getting things moving. So that's all good news for us. So If you have questions about the governor's plan or the 3-phase Opening America plan that the CDC put out last Thursday, feel free to stick those in our chat box, and we'll try to address those. Or if you have any specific questions about your business or what we're doing here in Fort Bend County, please feel free to add those as well. So I just want to give you that high-level overview to get us going. I am always thrilled to be able to share the platform with Keri Schmidt, and Keri's here with us, the president of the chamber. I think everybody knows Keri. The chamber has just been doing amazing things over the last 4 weeks, Keri, and I just want to say thank you to you and kudos to you and the chamber staff for all that you've done, both in helping with supplies and resources for different businesses and organizations, as well as just providing lots of these webinars and resources to get education. What I find that most business owners are wanting and needing right now is just information. Give us the information we need. And one of the big things that I'm starting to hear more about is how do we create a safe and healthy reopening and workplace. The two big things that I hear from business owners are, cash flow and taking care of our people. And so keeping our businesses safe and sanitized is a big part of that. And you've been doing some work on this. You've been helping some groups. The city of Sugar Land has done some things. Keri, why don't you talk to us a little bit about what are things that business owners can be doing to prepare their facilities, their work areas for their staff and their customers?
Right. Thank you, Glenn, very much. It's good to be with you, and I'm seeing all of our friends out there. I hope you are all very well and your families are well, and thank you for giving us this opportunity to talk to you today. Before I get started on that, Glenn, I just want to mention that about an hour ago, I got a note from the U.S. Chamber saying that they expect the second round of the CARES Act to be passed today, or at least agreed to today. Let's put it that way. So that's good news that that's progressing along, because that's a vital part of the recovery on this. As far as work safe opportunities and things to be looking at now, as we've been doing, you want to have people work from home if possible. And I know we've got a variety of businesses out there, from retail to manufacturing and others that are out there. So you are all going to be handling this obviously in a different way, depending on how critical it is to have people at your facility, both employees and customers. So depending on that answer, you need to look at it in a different way. But how many on-site workers do you need to get up and running? Can you continue to have people work from home and still be as effective? These are all questions to answer. We've all learned new technologies really fast. Those of us that were thinking about doing webinars, boy, we got up and running real fast and, when all of this occurred, but it's been something on our list. So what we did was we designated one of our staff members to become the Zoom king of the chamber. And so Ryan has been instrumental in helping us run these webinars smoothly. And certainly there are other platforms, Skype, Microsoft, Teams, etc., that are available. I know our friends over at Kinetics also have a platform that they'd love to talk to you about. So obviously continuing to use video technology is going to be critical going forward as we phase into the full opening of our businesses. Safe working environments, and again, that applies to employees and our customers, but do you have the ability to have a distance between you of at least 6 feet or complete separation from folks? I've noticed that, some of the retail organizations that are open, the grocery stores, some of them have actual tape on the floors to separate folks. We've been operating a cookie delivery to the hospitals for the last 2 weeks. And so one day of the week, we have 4 people coming up here, and they sit in separate corners of a very large room using all the advice of making sure that we are using sanitary processes, et cetera. You know, one of the things to be thinking about, there is a shortage of supplies. It's still hard to get certain things. And so be thinking about how you're going to be handling that once you get open. How are you going to make sure that you have the sanitizers, the gloves, the masks? How are you going to be able to take care of that? And making sure that you're establishing protocols that people feel comfortable with. Where people need to be on site, cleaning probably needs to be stepped up. You know, we have a cleaning service that's been coming in, I think, even more frequently without even letting us know. But I'm here every day at the chamber, and you know, even though we have very few people coming through, we're making sure we have a really clean environment and protocols whenever we're handling things from people that are coming in. Looking at the PTO and what your policies are on paid time off. I mean, you certainly don't want people to be penalized because they are staying at home because they're not feeling well. I mean, it's going to be super important that people are very mindful that even if they have some minor issues with their health, that they stay at home. Or if the people they're living with are showing symptoms of anything that might be contagious at this point, be, you know, more careful than you used to be about not coming into work environments. And so we need to make sure that we're not penalizing our staff if they don't come in because they're not feeling well. So adjustments to your PTO may need to be looked at. And of course, we can always rely on our friend Mike Dobert to help us with those kinds of guidelines. I know he's on top of all of that. If you don't have hand sanitizing stations, you need them. And I see Jim Key that's out there. Thank you, Jim, for many, many years ago, providing us with all those materials to have hand sanitizer and all of the things that you don't have to touch, the soap dispensers or the paper towel dispensers. Those things have been on my mind, and I thank Jim for donating those to the chamber many, many years ago. Are there ways to have alternative teams to staff your business and be effective? Can you do shifts instead of having people coming in for the full day? That may be something to consider at this time so that you don't have the entire staff in your office at once. Obviously, there's still the guideline of not wanting more than 10 people in a space at one time. So I know over at one of the retailers that is open right now is one of the bike shops, and they are counting their staff members and only allowing people inside up to 10 people, and everyone else is safely distanced outside. So those are the things to be getting ready for and get prepared for.
Keri, I want to ask you a question if I can. And again, I'm glad to see Jim on here. Jim Key, glad you're here with us. And maybe Jim can even add to this. One of the things that my clients and the business owners I'm talking to are asking about is, how do I get the sanitizer now? Because it's so hard to find. I know some businesses are wanting to take temperatures of employees before they come into work or as they come into work. And so how do we get thermometers? And I'll be honest with you, I don't have a good answer for that yet. And maybe somebody in our group has some answers or resources there that they can share with us.
Glenn, this is Jim Key.
Yeah, Jim, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm glad to be on this call, listening to everybody's vantage point for what we're going through. But yes, the demand has outstripped the supply by far. People are hoarding sanitizer. As you know, we've seen articles of liquor stores converting their capacity to hand sanitizers. Believe it or not, that probably is the best place to look right now. If you're looking for smaller volume stuff, we are backed up. Clorox just put out a memo to us saying that it's easily a 120-day lead time on most of their products. That's normally lead time for them would be like 5 days. So you can see the magnitude. It's hard to find masks, as we know. Our company stopped selling masks, decided to donate over 3 million masks to the public, to
Wow.
the healthcare industry. What's going on in the supply business is most companies have decided or have shifted all their capacity to healthcare. As we know, we have to help the healthcare industry figure this thing out, find a cure for it so it can protect all of us. So everything goes there. First, it doesn't matter if they need something last minute and somebody's been waiting for 8 weeks, it's going to go to healthcare. So feel good behind the scenes. People are making the right decisions. Companies, big companies are doing the right things, but it makes it tough to find this stuff. Very, very difficult. Seriously, I've been so busy through this whole thing where a lot of people have been trying to find things to do. I'm trying to find things not to do, but it's overwhelming what we're up against. But one thing I assure you, we will not live our lives the same as before this. The handshake may be a thing of the past, blowing kisses from 6 feet plus away. No more hugs and kisses like we did in Fort Bend County. That was our trademark. We all like to do it, but it's definitely changed. I got to share something real fast. There's actually a mat, we sell floor mats, like entryway mats into buildings. There's actually a company that came out with a mat that is like a runner. If you configure 24 feet long, and every 6 feet it has a circle with an X saying stand back. So there's people that will find new ideas and coming out with different ways to approach things. I was talking to a developer, and he was telling me that he thinks the open concept for office buildings will go away. Cubicles will come back in, where it keeps people isolated. So our world's changing very, very quickly in front of us as people are thinking of different ways to protect ourselves. Thank you for letting me speak. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you for sharing that, Jim, and giving us that update. Kind of going along with what you're saying, I was speaking earlier this morning with one of my clients who happens to be an attorney, and he was talking about some of his restaurant clients and how that they're probably going to change their seating and the way they do seating in the restaurants, go away from the open concept to more booths with, plexiglass and things like that. So I think Jim's exactly right. And Keri, I want to come back to you, but before I do, I want to encourage everybody to take a look at the chat, because we've gotten some good comments here from several people about places that have had resources that you might need. So check the chat here for some ideas. I was very fortunate about maybe a week and a half ago to actually stop by a Dollar Tree store at the time they're bringing out hand sanitizer. The truck had just come, they brought it out, and of course they were limiting the purchase of it, but people are getting some things in, but it's slow, and as Jim said, the demand is outstripping the supply. And I love that, Jim. Great.
Perfect.
Yeah. But Keri, you were sharing with us some things about healthy workplace, safe workplace. Other thoughts you have along those lines, or what you were sharing?
Well, one of the things to mention is that as a chamber, we're your connectors. We know a lot of folks that have resources. So if you're ever in a pinch and you can't think of where you're going to get something or how you're going to resource something, give us a call, any one of us, and we'll do what we can to connect you to the right person. We've been spending most of our time, or I have spent most of my time, connecting people to things that they need to run their operations. Particularly our Second Mile Mission food bank has needed a lot of supplies because they have ramped up from a couple of hundred cars a day to almost 900 cars a day. And so just keep in mind that we're your COVID-19 connector at the chamber, and we're here to help you. Anything you can think of, just let us know, give us a call, and we're here to help. But one of the other things is to just be careful about access to your building. If your customer only needs to be in one section and can safely distance within that section, be thinking about the floor plan of your facility and how you can make that operational for you.
One of the questions that have come in, and this is a great question, I don't have a solid answer for it, but it's one of the questions I've already been asked and I'm looking for the answer, is what about small business salons? When are the salons? I know for me, I need a haircut really bad. And, when are the salons and the hairstyling and all the personal things that, we kind of touch each other, in these services. And that's not delineated that I can see clearly in the 3-phase plan. So I'm going to be looking for the governor to give us more specific direction on that. It may be phase 1, it may be phase 2 before that makes sense. But as I see it right now, and hopefully the governor will bring us some clarity next week, I'm kind of hoping salons will be able to start having some limited service next week, but I don't know that for sure. I wish I had a better answer for that question because it is a big one. That's another factor.
Glenn, hopefully we'll have some protocols that we'll be able to send out to our businesses shortly on how to handle those kinds of things. I mean, one of the things we're seeing, or I'm seeing, is obviously one customer at a time, and they don't come in until the other leaves. For businesses like, hairdressers and things of that nature, or nail salons, that you don't wait inside for your appointment, you wait in your car and you get texted to come in when they're ready for you so that they can sanitize the area before the next customer comes in.
Yes, and those are the things that business owners right now, even before maybe they're able to open back up, they need to be thinking about, right?
Right,
exactly. And figuring out what your plan is, gather supplies as you can, start doing it now, looking for things, because this is going to be, we're going to need this stuff for a while. If the phases go as the CDC has outlined them, and what I'm hearing from the governor is hopefully next week or so, we'll be able to enter what they call phase 1, and we'll be able to have more of our businesses opening up. Restaurants will be able to have soon, I hope, limited opening for in-house dining. I know in the phase 1 specifics, it says about sit-down dining can operate under strict physical distancing protocols. So hopefully that will start happening here very soon. That's part of phase 1. Elective surgeries resuming, which is going to be important for the healthcare industry. Gyms can open, but interesting, bars are going to have to stay closed till phase 2, apparently. Phase 2 could happen within 14 days after phase 1, as long as there's not an unusual rise or increase in cases or hospitalizations. So they do have a line. You can go to COVID19.com, and they have the peak dates for each of the states. And so they're saying Texas is going to be closer to the end of the month before we hit our peak, but we're not hitting a huge peak. We're not hitting a big spike. It's just more of a flat curve, which of course is what we were trying to accomplish. So those are some guidelines that you might want to look up. If you want to see the phases, the 3 phases, simply go to whitehouse.gov/opening America. whitehouse.gov opening America, and you'll see they have specifics for individuals, for employers, and then for specific types of businesses, like I was just mentioning, sit-down restaurants. And you can look it up and kind of see how you're going to fit in there. And like I say, I'm hoping next week, Governor Abbott's going to say we're moving into phase 1. So we'll wait and see. Next Monday, hopefully we'll do another one of these, and we'll keep you posted about what we learn. But one of the things we're really trying to do, and I appreciate the Fort Bend Chamber so much for letting me participate with this, is we just want to keep our businesses informed. As we get information, as we get clarity, we're building the bridge as we walk on it. So it's just kind of every week we get new information and understanding. So that's where we are. We're going to wrap up here in a few minutes. If you got any more questions, please put those in the chat. We'd like to respond to those. And again, I appreciate those of you who've shared some resources. Yeah, King, whitehouse.gov/opening America. That is the website. And that'll give you the 3 phases. Keri, any other thoughts you have before we wrap up here that will help our business owners?
I would just point you to the website, the fortbendchamber.com website. We just made it a little bit easier to navigate all of the resources that businesses need. We'll put this White House website out there as well, but we've just made a change and launched it so that you can just go to directly whatever it is that you need to get assistance from, whether it's SBA or the county or the state, so or the U.S. Chamber. So just, access that and let us know. Again, we're here. We're all answering our phones. So we're here for you. Call us anytime you need anything.
I want to share just a couple of things real quickly before I turn it over to Stacy to wrap up. I am available to help any of the local businesses, any of the chamber members. If you want to have a Zoom session to just talk about your strategy, in order to really get ramped up, you need a plan to jumpstart, what I'm calling it. Your business, you need to conserve cash because you need cash to buy time, and you need to take care of your team, your employees, and in that process, you want to execute as efficiently and as effectively as possible. So I'm meeting with business owners on Zoom, and this is just a service for you. I don't charge for it. I just want to help our businesses. And again, this is a partnership with the Fort Bend Chamber of Commerce. So if any of our business owners, chamber members want to just chat, want to talk, want to bounce your ideas off, want some help just thinking through ideas, I'm available. You can contact me. I'm going to stick my email address in here in the chat. Feel free to just email me directly. And,
thank you, Glenn, very much. Thank you for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Glad to do that. So my email address is up there. So y'all feel free to contact me if I can help you. And Jim, thank you for your volunteering to be a resource as well. Sure appreciate that a lot. Jim has been a great leader in our community for many years. So Stacy, I'm going to turn it back over to you to wrap us up.
Okay, well, Glenn, Keri, thank you so much for today's session. And I want to thank everyone who took the time to dial in or to join us. We're going to put a couple of slides up today to let you know what we've got coming up. On tomorrow, we have what we call the main event. It's a 1-hour session where we cover the marketing, advocacy, information, and networking benefits included with chamber membership. So you know what, whether you're a member or not, join us and see kind of what your chamber does to move you forward and can help you navigate through this time. There are a lot of things that you can control yourself, so I certainly hope you'll join me tomorrow at noon. And then on Thursday, we will be joined by the directors of economic development for Missouri City, Rosenberg, Stafford, and Sugar Land, where they will give us an economic update and forecast. That again is at noon, and you see the slide there with the information. Now, to register for any of these events, you can visit the website at fortbendchamber.com, go to the top right-hand corner and click the events tab. And then lastly, we have something fun coming up with our Chamber Young Professionals. They are combining bingo and trivia for an evening of Trivingo on Thursday, April 23rd at 5 o'clock. So you get to mix your own cocktail, and our CYP Division Chair, Nick Deacon, will moderate the game, which should be a lot of fun. One last thing I'll mention to you, all of our resources are housed at fortbendchamber.com. If you're interested in taking a look at the replays for some of our webinars, and there are a number of very, very informative ones there. If you didn't get a chance to catch them in real time, you can navigate to the Business and Professional tab and take a look at the gallery of those. And then also we have a COVID-19 resource page where we house a lot of the sites that were mentioned in today's presentation. So if you'd like to navigate there directly, if you're looking for information from the county or from the SBA or the U.S. Chamber, all of that information is there. So Glenn and Keri, do you have any final remarks?
Keri? Keri, you're muted. Give us that one more time.
Thank you, Glenn. Appreciate all you do for our chamber. Thank you all, and you all stay safe.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you to everybody and to the chamber staff. And Jim, thank you for being with us today. Y'all, Jim put his contact information in the chat box, so if you need any kind of info on sanitation and cleaning, he'd be a great resource. And email me if I can help you. And of course, the Chamber's website got the new COVID-19 button on there. I saw that. So resources are available. So thank you, Stacy, and thank you all for joining us.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you, everyone. Have a good week.
Bye-bye.